Good morning, everybody. You're tuned into Cragcore. Thank you for tuning in today. It's been a few days since I posted a video, so I apologise if you've been waiting. I've had to take a few days off, basically. I feel like the world at the minute, the insanity, especially in the UK, the insanity of this situation, man. I've just had to take a step back because, I mean, you know, talking about it, thinking about it is bad enough. Witnessing it is bad enough. Then thinking about it. But then having to talk about it, bearing witness to the onset of fascism when people are begging for it and, you know, petitioning the government for it. It's tough to witness. It really is, especially when you're a person like me who is just against fascism in general. You know, it is what it is. That's what's happening. So it's difficult at times, and to motivate myself to talk about it is sometimes difficult too. So, you know, that's that. We're back in it. We're here again. I saw on the paper the other day, when was it? It was Monday. I saw on the front of the newspaper, I don't know which one, I don't buy them, I just tend to walk past them in the newsagents and have a quick scan to see what's on the front pages, because, you know, it's good to stay in the loop in a small way, just so you can see what the most important part of propaganda, you know, is being, well, the most important part of the propaganda phase is right now. Because it's all propaganda, isn't it? So at the minute, on the front of one of the newspapers, it was, "Get your booster to save Christmas." Now, I don't know, have people not woken up yet? You know, have people not realised yet that the jabs, the pricks, they're not really the way out of this, are they? Because it's actually the way to keep it going. It's the way further into it is you know, flip it on its head and then you'll be closer to what it actually is that's going on. Because if these people that are obviously vying for some sort of justified fascism, if these people are pushing for something, it's quite possibly the opposite reason as to what it is they're actually telling you they're pushing it for. So when they're telling you that, you know, just run it through the fascist filter, man, basically. When they're telling you that they want you to get these pricks, these booster pricks now, you've got to run it through the fascist filter and say, would these people wanting to do this? Would these people want to do this because of what it is they're actually saying it for, which is to save bloody Christmas? Why do you need somebody to tell you in the first place that you can or cannot have Christmas, man, or have a Christmas that you're used to? It's not their place to say, man. And the fact that they are saying it kind of gives people this subconscious attitude towards it, which is that they've got the right to say it, because otherwise why would they be saying it? Which makes people think they've got the right to fucking dictate whether or not they can have a fucking Christmas that they want to have. To save Christmas. I mean, these people are fucking, they're ridiculous. I can't believe these people are just so blatantly fucking, it's like they're fucking bullying the schoolyard, isn't it? Telling you that you can go about your daily business unless you give them your lunch money. Well, you can go about your daily business anyway. You still don't have to give them your fucking lunch money. They haven't got the right to it. It's not theirs. You know? You're giving it them anyway, aren't you? And that's what's going on here. Oh, what a mess. What an absolute mess. I mean, I'm not the only person that can see this onset of fascism. And the problem is, people don't recognise that's what's happening, because a lot of the time, the majority of people are accepting it under the guise of safety because they're afraid. But it's the same people that have made you afraid that are telling you that they're going to give you this and that to make you feel safe. If somebody walked up at you, you know, in the street and just started having a go at you, and every time you saw them, every fucking day, they started having a go at you and you were afraid, and then they said, well, I'll give you free passage without fear if every day you do, you know, something that they want you to do. They've created the fear in the first place. So for you to just do as you're told, what right have they got? And it's the exact same situation that we're living in now. These people are telling you that you've got to be afraid, and then they're saying, well, the same people that are stoking the flames of fear, needlessly as well, because we'll get to that, but the numbers themselves have admittedly been inflated. So they're needlessly stoking the flames of fear, and then telling you how to be, you know, not afraid. And it's also solutions that they've bloody come up with. I mean, it used to be problem, reaction, solution, didn't it? That was the tactic, but they've skipped out the reaction part now. It's just problem, solution. They create the problem and then just offer the solution, and they don't give a fuck, do they, who reacts? Because they know at this point the majority of the population have given into the brainwashing, and they'll just police everybody else. What a mess. So anyway, you've got the you know, you've got the double pricks that they said were going to cure everybody, and there was people saying that actually it doesn't, and they were called conspiracy theorists. They were, you know, they were censored on social media, weren't they? If you dared say on any sort of platform, whether it's Instagram, whether it's you know, Facebook. I'm not on Facebook, but I used to be. YouTube even, you know, coming out and censoring people that dare say that actually it doesn't stop you catching it and it doesn't stop you passing it on. You were flagged for medical misinformation, and other people of the public would come out and say, well, you're not an expert, you're not a doctor, and all these fucking memes that go around that mock free thought, that mock the person that wants to think for themselves. I mean, since when did thinking for yourself become a mockable thing? But it is. You think for yourself and you dare to put that opinion out there, and people mock you for it. And this is what I mean by the people policing themselves. But, you know, nonetheless, we're at that situation now where Boris himself, you know, Mr. Boris, he has openly, on television, come out and said, well, in order to protect yourself, you need to now have a booster. Well, and he says as well, his own words, and I recorded it for proof. He said in his own words, as although the, you know, the double prick does offer protection against death and severe illness, it doesn't stop you passing it on, and it doesn't stop you contracting the virus. That's what he said. Exactly the same as what people were getting bloody censored for 6 to 8 months ago. You know, when the rollout happened, when people were getting shamed into doing something that they didn't want to do. And now people are getting bullied into by saying they're going to have their livelihoods taken away once again, but this time by their employer, because now they've got to have the double prick to actually be employable. You know, fascism. Now this guy's coming out and actually saying it, but he's saying it to make you go out and get a booster. Now, I'm going to have to call bullshit. Because these people, with every step that they take, they open up more and more holes in their story, don't they? And that's what they're doing at the minute. You know, as the further we go into this whole bloody situation, the more we are able to realise that the narrative that has been told to us, that has got us on the hook, you know, and got us believing, has all basically been a load of bollocks. So it will do just that, is get you afraid, get you on the hook, and get you believing that these people are in the right and you should listen to them because they've got the rights now to say, get you boosted to save Christmas. Well, I remember a similar headline. It was, you know, this is the roadmap out of this. And, you know, you've got to get your first prick and your second prick to get your freedom back, to save the world. And, you know, they were saying that you had to do it to save whatever it was, summer. Was it Christmas? I don't know. Maybe they said it last Christmas about the double prick. I don't know. Did they do the rollout then? I can't remember. This has been going on for so long now, and it's been so fucking ridiculous. I'm starting to lose track of the timeline here. You know, 2 years in, people still talk about a bloody pandemic. Where? Fucking where? Look around. Where is it? If not for on the fucking telly. It's like people are just watching a TV programme and they're living their lives by it. It's as stupid as going out and living your life by what fucking Grant Mitchell says. Grant Mitchell. I mean, come on. But, you know, people are still going along with it. And as I said, you know, the further we go into it, the more we realise, or at least the more we should be realising, that the narrative is bollocks. I mean, it's not all bad though, is it? I suppose it's not all bad because that's a good thing. You know, if more and more people start to realise that this is a load of shit, well then more and more people will rise against it. But I read a quote by Adolf Hitler the other day. Somebody had posted it on Instagram and it was a photograph of a book, so it wasn't just one of these things where they type it out, stick a picture of the old geezer on there, and you know, you get fact checkers all over it saying, well, this is missing context. It was actually a quote from Mein Kampf, which is allegedly the autobiography of Adolf Hitler. I mean, I've heard in the pipeline that actually it wasn't him that wrote it. Apparently he wasn't that intellectual, or at least intellectual enough to have written that. But who knows? That's all by the by. Nonetheless, it says, as a quote by Adolf Hitler, in order to control people and to control them absolutely, you need to take away their freedoms I'm paraphrasing, in thousands of little steps, so that they don't realise that their freedoms are being taken away until the point where the realisation is pointless and it's too late for these changes to be reversed. And fucking hell, man, is that not what's going on right now? And you have to think though, yes, more and more people are starting to wake up in all of this. And these people are showing their agenda more and more, which is creating a larger awakening to all of this within the public. But will it be too little too late, you know, because that's something that has to be looked at, man. Is it going to be too little too late by the time enough people wake up? Because I know there's people out there that will go and get the booster straight away. Why? I mean, everybody's got their own reasons, and it is what it is, you know, that's what free will's about. You can do what you want. But doing so just simply going along with these things, it is creating a new fascistic society, isn't it? I mean, what you've got to do is not just look at the prick system itself. You've got to look at what that allows to happen off the back of it. Because in my opinion, that's where we need to be. That's where we need to get our head, is looking at where the decisions we are making today are going to lead us into the future. Because it's cause and effect, isn't it? We are here today in this current situation because of the decisions we made 2 years ago. We all decided to go along with it in the start. Millions of people decided that it was okay to be forced to wear face coverings, and it was forced to go off work, and it was okay to be forced to anti-socially distance and so on. Then millions of people thought it was okay to be forced into having, experimental technology stuck in your arm, which is what these these pricks are, these jabs. Now, what is it then that's going to come of what the decisions we're making today? What's going to come of that? Because if we want to try and save the future, we need to make different decisions today. Because simply by making foolhardy decisions, thinking, well, it's okay, it'll be okay, well, it won't be, will it? Because then you're giving away control of the ship that you are currently sailing on to a madman, and he will sail it into the fucking rocks. You'll find yourself capsized or fucking stranded on some island where, I don't know, only hungry tigers live. So, where is this leading us? I mean, we've got to look at that, because in my opinion, the jabs, man, the fucking pricks, that is a delivery system for an opportunity of even more overbearing fascism. Because if you think about it, prick or no prick, it's quite obvious at this point, since Boris even fucking admits to it, you're no better off with regards to your immunity. When that's regarding picking it up and passing it on. You're no better off. That's what he said. I've been saying it. I've been cancelled for it, and so have other people. My business has taken a hit because I'm a self-employed individual, and I have noticed a slight decline in my clientele and in my followers on social media like Instagram and what have you. But this is a very serious situation, and everybody's got to make sacrifices, no matter how big or small. So, judging by Boris, it doesn't make you any different with regards to your immunity. So, at this point, it's not about the health side of it, is it? They're telling you to do these things, but off the backs of that, through people accepting, what it is they're being told, that opens the floodgates for even more. Because with every step, have you noticed, it's gotten more and more controlling, and people have become more and more submissive, because what's being asked of people has been more and more severe, but yet people are still going along with it because they're being strung a line of freedom, when really freedom doesn't come with conditions. All right, I know we live in a society where certain conditions need to be adhered to, but not these types of conditions, man. It shouldn't be you're only allowed to go to work unless you've had, if you've had the double prick, which actually doesn't stop you catching it or passing it on. That is fascism, that shouldn't be allowed. That's blackmailing, it's illegal. I've said this before and I'm saying it again. So it's obviously not about the health side of it, and it's all about what it is they can force people to do next. So if you're willing to hand over the rights to your own personal medical choice of what it is you have injected into your body, if you're willing to hand over that choice to a group of people that are proven liars, well then what else? What's the next step from that? Well, considering the progression of this and how things have become more, increasingly severe as the time has gone on, you'd have to expect then that whatever is going to come in off the back of this is going to be more severe. It's going to be more controlling. It's going to be less about freedom, which is what they're telling you, remember, invert it. And it's going to be more about control and fascism. That in itself is obvious at this point. So let's just theorize from it. Let's just speculate, because I like to do that kind of thing. Keep an open mind. Expect the worst, prepare for what is it? Expect the best and prepare for the worst. But right now, you've got to expect the worst from these people. So what can come in off the back of this? Well, they're already pushing, aren't they? They're already pushing people needing an app, the prick passport. So, okay, people accept the prick passport. They're already doing it. But what does that lead to? Well, at the minute, it's just for certain things. Well, then you'd have to assume then, and you'd have to expect that it's going to be extended to other things. And then that leads to a two-tier society, because you will still find people that won't go along with it, and rightly so. People shouldn't be forced into going along with such a fucking draconian system. But what comes from that? Well, as soon as you can get everybody tied into an app, well, basically, you've created the basis, the foundations of a transhumanist society. Because now you are completely integrated with a piece of technology in order to live your daily lives. And yes, at the minute, you don't have to necessarily go along with it, and you can still place your mobile phone on the table, leave it somewhere. You don't have to have it on you all the time, do you? But this will lead, once it becomes so important to people's lives, and people are so integrated with this app and with technology, once you fucking get to that point, well, then you start to reach a point where it becomes actually physically integrated with the human body. That's where it will lead. But where does that lead? Because you've got to start looking at these things, man, and say, well, down the line, it will affect us at some point. And the quicker you bend your knees to it, well, the quicker it will start having an impact on you and your life. And let's just say 50 years pass and the resistance is enough to hold it back for a bit. Your children and their children are going to have to suffer this reality where people are being forced to have a piece of technology, whether it's a microchip, whether it's nanotech, people are going to be forced to have this in their body because it's the only way to live now at this point. I would urge anybody to look into the transhumanist agenda of certain people. I'll go to that point in a minute. I'll just finish this one first. Your children are going to be forced to live within this dystopian society that is fully controllable. At the point where everything is integrated into technology, you've got no control whatsoever over what it is you're able to do with your life, because now somebody somewhere can say, click at something on a computer somewhere, which then restricts you from, say, for instance, going into businesses of a certain type, restricts you from travel, restricts you from going on public transport, it restricts you from buying fuel for your own personal conveyance. There's all of these things that are possible that will happen, because remember, this is being run by people that are ultimately fascists. The only people that would want this type of society are fascists. Fucking hell. Anybody that believes in freedom isn't going to want a system that is completely without freedom of choice. Only somebody who doesn't want anybody to have freedom at all is going to want to bring in this type of a system. So remember, down the line, when you have given away every single aspect of your own personal sovereignty to these people by adhering to this system, this integration of this technology that will completely ensnare you and take away all of your freedom of choice as to what it is you're able to do, remember that that technology that you have now given your life away to is ultimately run and monitored by the fascist system and by the people, by fascist people that actually brought it in the first place. Now, just bringing it back to the present day, who are the main players in what's going on at the minute? Who are the main players? Who are the main voices in all of these things that are being pushed by the governments and stuff? Who are the main voices that are backing it up? Well, you've got people like Bill Gates, haven't you? You've got people like, George Soros, people like Jeff Bezos, Amazon. He's making big moves with regards to the NHS and stuff. These are the same people that are involved in big tech. These are the same people that are involved in all of these things that will be implemented in the future. Things like blockchain currencies. If you're moving into a technological world, who's going to run it? People like Bill Gates, because he's a technological guy. People like Apple. All of these people. So then you look at the current situation of this slow onset, this creeping in of the fascism, and it's the same people that are involved. And when you look at the timeline of where what we're doing now will take us in the future, if it's the same people that are involved now and it will be the same people that will benefit and that will be involved in the future, then you'd have to say that there's a bloody connection there. People like Bill Gates have been vaccinating people for many, many years. I mean, you've got to look into what he did to the African people, man. Look into Bill Gates and the African vaccines. Wow. Millions of people have been affected by this. Thousands have died. They've been given hereditary conditions that is now, they're unable to get rid of it. And this is the guy that's pushing all of this stuff. There is a link, there is a fucking link, and you've got to accept it. The only way we can get out of this now is by choosing to educate ourselves and by stopping looking at the mainstream, because it's quite obvious at this point that the mainstream is lying to you. And they're feeding you a false narrative in order to get you to go along with this ultimate plan. And when you look at what we're doing now and where we're headed because of it, and where we are now and how we got here, it's all been down to the propaganda of the media that is pushed and backed up by the same people that are benefiting today, that benefited yesterday, and that will benefit in the future from the world that is being pushed upon you. So it's time to wake up and educate yourself. Stop looking at the mainstream. Start looking more into things of an independent nature. And, just remain critical. I would suggest not bullying people at this point that come out with suggestions that may seem a little bit fantastical, Because remember, the jab passport was one of those things. All of these things like the jab's not stopping you contracting or passing it on was fantastical at some point, and people got bullied for saying that and silenced and censored, but it's all the truth now. So maybe what it is that people are saying today may become the truth in the future, and that's something that you need to accept and just perhaps try and do something about, man. Just maybe stop feeling afraid that you were wrong. It's okay. People aren't going to take the piss out of you, and anybody that does, fuck them. People aren't going to take the piss, or at least they shouldn't take the piss out of you for accepting that you were wrong. I mean, that's a very courageous thing to do. So if you accept that you were wrong and move forward, accept that you actually, you believed a very, very good lie, and move forward. It's okay. At that point, you're being strong, and you will be embraced. You'll be welcomed by those people who have been saying all of these things all along. On that note, I am going to wish love and peace to all things everywhere, and I'm going to thank everybody for watching this video. And please like, share, and subscribe. Continue to give me thumbs ups and stuff on the videos. I thoroughly appreciate it. Peace.